Hi, I'm Jordan Long, and today I'm going to talk about, age restriction, or I don't know, I guess you could say, uh, young oversight, or whatever you want to call it. Well, I guess you gotta be frightened of this one. YouTube tell everyone that now they're gonna start really looking at films that, well, they still follow followership oversight and they still follow the Webstead oversight, but they might be not really that, right for folks who are younger. Now keep in mind there's already for kids and not for kids thing that was put into stead about, around November, December of last year. So that's already been done. This would most likely probably be for films that had, stuff in it that, that some folk that this would probably be for films that didn't get looked at but had stuff in it that should have been on that list but will probably be put on that list, you know. But do I have to be frightened of it? No. I don't really think I gotta be frightened of it. I already have a lot of films that are age restricted or young or whatever you want to call it, youth, locked back, oversighted anyway. So it's not like I'm frightened to have any more of my stuff put, underneath that because some of my films already been put on that list long ago. But there probably are going to be some folks that will fear strike this, just like folks that fear strike the whole for kids, not for kids shit. The ones that always fear strike everything. Someone's going to go around and start fear striking on all this stuff, saying, "Oh well, you need to watch what you say and what you do." Oh, well, I think you need to watch and say what you do anyway. All right. You need to follow. Yeah, I think you do need to follow YouTube followership oversight and YouTube Webstead oversight and the ownership law, the ownership law oversight, which is more whatever. And I think you do. But I think this is going to be for folks out there that make the edgy stuff. And I'm not talking about when someone says a curse word or something. I'm talking about when they have, they're breaking shit or they're beating someone up. Shit like that. Those kind of films, where they're showing all kind, playing stunts and larks on each other, things like that. Those would probably be the films that would get cracked down on. Those might be the films that might be put on the, well, this doesn't actually, this still fall, this doesn't, this isn't going, this film still is following YouTube, is still following the oversight and followership oversight, but it might not be right for everyone, you know? And do I really have to be frightened of that? You know, like if Killer comes on who has no shirt on. Yeah, do I really gotta be frightened over that? I would say no. We don't have to be frightened over that. We already went through for kids and not for kids stuff, a bind that YouTube got themselves in last year when they weren't keeping an eye on what folks were watching and what they weren't watching. There already was the business wise hang up that happened when businesses bought business wise time on films that had things in it that they didn't think was right. But at the end of the day, this is just something else to fear strike on, or they will fear strike on. There will be someone out there, Jordan, you're right, that's going to fear strike and say, well, you better watch what you say. They're going to clean you. Shit like that. You know. But I believe for someone to even get that on their film, it has to be looked at by YouTube before they can actually make the say if the film should be put underneath that. And you can still go on and choose to put your film on that list too if you want, or films. Yeah. What am I frightened for? Why would I be frightened over it? Every time some new thing comes along, some new oversight or something that YouTube's going to do, why would anyone be frightened over it? Unless you actually are doing something that's wrong. Unless you're not following the YouTube followership oversight, or you're not following the YouTube Webstead oversight, or you're not following the ownership law, or you're not following the YouTube business wise oversight, or what many other oversights there is to follow. For a mate, that's going to be a lot of oversights, but for a non-mate, maybe only three out of the oversights. And I already have films on the list. There already are films that I have made that got age restricted or youth locked up, or whatever you call it, youth oversight put on it. I already have films that were put on that list by YouTube a long time ago. And they're still up on my webstead. You can still watch them if you want to. So why would I be frightened over that? Unless you actually are doing something that's wrong. You want to know why some folks would be fear striking over this shit? Jordan, I'll tell you why. Because some folks out there think they're being cleaned. They think they're free they think they're free speech or whatever. They believe that's going to be taken away. So every time they hear something like that, they get all frightened of believing, oh, there goes my free speech. Well, how can someone take away something you already have? If it's a right or if it's a freedom, if it's a freedom, then no one can take that away from you. Not a Webstead. Yeah, a Webstead can take your film down. It can do all kinds of shit. But at the end of the day, you still had the right to free speech. You still had the right to say it. So no one's going to be taking anyone's freedoms away. But that's what they're going to fear strike over. They're going to come up with the most frightening binds and hang-ups that someone can see themselves in. And when none of that actually happens, then what do you say? So there are always going to be those who want to fear strike on stuff like that, Jordan. Folks out there, they're going to think that this whatever is going to take away either their free speech, it's either going to handicap their their fairway in some way if they're a mate or a non-mate. But I don't think so. No, I don't think so. I think at the end of the day, it just means that films that are too edgy, that, well, they're still following the YouTube followership oversight or the YouTube Webstead oversight, but they might not be, right for everyone to watch, might be put on that list. And I guess that might be put on that list if someone tells YouTube to look at the films and then YouTube makes that guess on the films, So it is what it is. I'm Jordan Long, and I hope you like this film.